Part 2 ended with an arrest and an open question. The police moved before the prosecutors were ready. According to TMZ, the Robbery Homicide Division lost patience with the DA's office and made the arrest on its own authority. That almost never happens in a homicide case. Normally, the DA files charges and the police execute the warrant. Here, the police decided the DA was taking too long and acted first. That tension between the two offices is now the central problem in this case. David Burke is currently held without bail, but no formal charges have been filed. Under California law, a person cannot be held indefinitely on suspicion alone. If the DA does not present enough by Monday to justify continued detention, a judge could order his release. The clock is running. This was not a secret. People knew. Her family knew she was connected to David. Her brother, Matthew Rivas, told NBC LA that before she disappeared, she went to see a movie with David and never came home. Fans saw her backstage at his shows. She appeared on his live streams. Someone emailed his record label about her. She was reported missing 3 separate times and kept coming back to him. According to police sources cited by the LA Times, during the entire period her family reported her missing, she was living with him inside a rental home. Every time she returned, more people noticed. More questions were asked. More attention landed on a relationship between a grown man and a 14-year-old girl. That relationship is a felony in California. It carries prison time on its own. David had a platinum record, Zize and Kali Uchis collaborations, brand deals, a world tour, and millions of streams. All of that was at risk, not because of a rumor, because of a real person who kept showing up, who kept being seen, and who could say everything at any time. Only the person responsible knows the real reason. It could have been a moment of anger. It could have been jealousy, but the evidence points in one direction: an illegal relationship with a minor, a career that could not survive it, and a person who is not going away on her own. The Guardian also published details about who Celeste was. Her parents are both from El Salvador. She was born in Riverside County. A GoFundMe set up for the family described her as a beloved daughter, sister, cousin, and friend. A missing person poster noted she was last seen wearing Hello Kitty sandals. People in her community remembered her as quiet and sweet. A family friend told the LA Times she was studious, a hard worker, and intelligent. She deserves justice. Those were the exact words. A private investigator named Steve Fischer was hired by the property owner of the Hollywood Hills house. Fischer went further than what has been publicly reported. According to IB Times UK, he found items inside the home that he described as sadistic. He also recovered video evidence that he said was directly connected to Celeste's passing. Neither the contents of the video nor the nature of the items have been disclosed publicly. Fischer turned everything over to the LAPD. If that video shows what Fischer implied, it could be the single most important piece of evidence in the case. And it came from a private citizen, not the police. There is also the question of the autopsy. The medical examiner's office has been blocked from releasing its full findings. LAPD requested a court order to seal the results. Chief Medical Examiner Dr. Odi Ukpo publicly pushed back. He said the practice of sealing autopsy results is virtually unheard of in other counties across the state. The police argued it was necessary to protect the investigation, but the result is that the public and potentially the defense still does not know how she was taken. Only the manner has been confirmed. That seal could become a major issue at Monday's hearing. If the DA presents the autopsy findings to the judge, the defense will see them for the first time, and whatever is in that report could determine whether the case moves forward or falls apart. California passed a law in 2022 that limits how prosecutors can use an artist's creative work against them in court. The law was written after several cases where rap lyrics were introduced as evidence of guilt. It requires prosecutors to prove that the creative work is directly relevant to the crime and not just unfair to the defendant. Legal analyst Allison Triacel told KTLA the burden is high. Prosecutors would need to show the lyrics go beyond artistic expression and function as a factual account. For this case, that test will come down to specificity. General lyrics about harm would not meet the standard, but lyrics that describe remains in a trunk, written before remains were found in the artist's own trunk, present a different argument entirely. No California court has tested this exact scenario yet. Triacel told News Nation it will be difficult for the prosecution to introduce the song lyrics if charges are filed, but difficult is not impossible, and the prosecution does not need the lyrics to make its case. The physical evidence, the digital trail, and the testimony of witnesses who were forced to appear may be enough on their own. The lyrics would be a bonus, not the foundation. 2 days after the arrest, a skywriting plane appeared over Los Angeles. The word Celeste is a liar, stretched across the sky. No one has taken credit. Skywriting over a major city costs thousands of dollars. Someone funded that message and timed it to land before the first court hearing. Someone wanted the public to turn on Celeste before the legal process begins. Since the arrest, social media has split into two camps. One side demands accountability. The other insists on innocence and points to the lack of formal charges as proof. But a lack of charges is not the same as a lack of evidence. It means the system has not acted yet. The New York Times called the case lurid and described a fervid hunt for details across Los Angeles media. When the Times covers a local case with that kind of language, it means the DA's office is now under national pressure to either act or explain why it has not. The family responded through the legal system. They invoked Marsy's Law, a part of the California Constitution passed by voters in 2008. Most people have never heard of it. It gives victims' families specific rights that defendants' families do not have. The right to be present and heard at every public proceeding, the right to be notified before the defendant is released or has a hearing, and the right to refuse any contact or cooperation with the defense team. It means the family cannot be pressured into silence. They have a legal right to be part of this case. According to Los Angeles Magazine, the family is preparing to take a visible role in the proceedings. Their attorney is working on a full public statement. Until now, the only words from the family came from Celeste's father. 2 words, "Thank God." On Monday, the family will be in the courtroom. The defense will argue the arrest was premature. The grand jury heard the evidence and chose not to indict. No formal charges have been filed. David Burke is being held on suspicion, not on proof. Those are legitimate legal arguments, and in a courtroom, they carry weight. But the defense also has a problem it cannot argue away. The car was registered to their client, the remains were inside it, and the relationship is documented. And every person in his circle had to be forced by a court to say a single word. That tells you what the people closest to this case think the evidence means. TMZ reported this week that David will likely be indicted. If that reporting holds, Monday could be the beginning of a trial that defines how California handles cases involving celebrity and power. Monday determines everything. If the DA presents enough for a judge to find probable cause, this moves to a preliminary hearing. Evidence that has been sealed for months would be tested in open court. Witnesses who fought to stay silent could be called again. The public would hear, for the first time, what the prosecution actually has. If the DA falls short, the case does not disappear, but the man at the center of it walks out of the courthouse. And the system that was supposed to protect Celeste Rivas Hernandez would have failed her again.